start our little trip with this first little obstacle. It's a nice little river crossing, but it does flow quite fast in winter. So always walk this before you attempt it. If you can't walk it, don't drive it. This is the difference. This is in summer a couple years ago. As you can see, it's hardly flowing. Got the Hilux coming down here now. We did walk it before. I could walk it fine, so we decided to drive it. Got Steve's rig up here. It's got a little bit less ground clearance than the Hilux. He takes a slightly different line. And boom, he's in. Lovely driver, mate. Next up, we've got the big girl of the trip. This thing, I think, came out of the Toyota military department. It weighs that much. It's like a tank. Beautiful driving. Pushing on the rest of the track, we had a lot of this. There was so much water around. It only rained the day before, and I'm pretty sure it rained the week before that. This part of the track was so overgrown. I've never seen it so bad. All the times I've been going to Brunswick over the years, I've never seen this part of the track so overgrown. I don't think anyone's been down here in a while. Then we come across this, the slop. This is what we come out here to do. Challenge our four-wheel drives, challenge our four-wheel driving ability, and just have a bit of fun. We come across these guys in this little ATV, and they were just doing the same thing, having a bit of a challenge, having a bit of fun, pushing the limits of the little vehicle, and you'd be surprised what it could do. It didn't get up this time, but it did get up, but we didn't get it on camera. Then it was my turn in the Hilux. Second gear, lone range, giving it all the mumbo. Just put the foot down, used all the power that I had, all 250 horses of it. Now Steveo's giving it a crack in the MUX. Oh, a bit of a nosedive there. That's where ground clearance really comes into play on these kind of tracks. Last but not least, here comes the big girl.
You got your locker on? Your front and rear, or just rear? Oh, okay. Just don't move the steering wheel too much with the front one on, because it'll bind up. She's a heavy girl. Yeah. It smacked it like the nosedive. Yeah, it is. What gear you in? What gear you in? Oh, okay. Oh, so close!
We ended up admitting defeat and got the winch out.
Alright, now, give it a bit of drive. Give it a little bit of a drive.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Oh no, pushing mud. You can just see the all-terrains are no good for this kind of terrain. They just get caked up. I was down at about 15 psi at this point and still it was just filling up. You definitely need mud terrain tyres in these conditions. Stevo's giving it a good crack. I tried to drive up this hill and you've seen the fate that I suffered. Stevo's trying to give it a crack in his ISUZU. He's lacking the ground clearance, but he is finding the traction.
Traction. He's finding the traction, just bottomed out. Yeah. You're just jumping in the same hole every time. It just forces you in because it's so wet.
And that's exactly what these conditions are going to do. Just stick to the ruts because you're going to end up in them anyways. Because it's so slippery, you can't just kind of naturally want to find those ruts. Stevo was determined to make it up this hill. We had 7 max tracks out at this point. I hate using max tracks in these conditions because they just get so heavy. They are so hard to dig out and they just get exactly like your car suctioning in there. A winch would definitely be the go here. But we had enough playing around, we thought, ooh, we better go get my car out. We set up a directional pull utilising the winch that Trav had in his 100 series. We went off that tree there with a tree trunk protector and a pulley right to the recovery point under the Hilux. Can't stress enough to use rated recovery points. You see it all the time, people just using their tow points. They're not designed to recover cars, especially in these conditions. Tow points have been known just to shear off when people use them as recovery points. It's a good idea to get all that cakey mud off before it sets. If you're staying overnight and you've got access to sticks, try and just scrape as much as you can off, especially away from like your rims and stuff like that. Any moving parts, you know, you don't want this stuff setting on your brakes and stuff. Brakes get hot, mud becomes rocks, and then you start wearing brake pads.
How'd you go to the wheel, mate?
after you've had your fun in the mud, have a quick look at your radiator. Don't drive your car if your radiator's blocked. Give it a good clean out before you start driving. Because the last thing you want coming home is your car overheating.